Wake up, America, especially you Floridians. You're not as free as you thought you were. You're not as free as you thought you were. Thanks, Ron DeSantis, for making us more, into a communist state. We've already been a police state, but man, it's gotten so much worse. So what this is about, it's about this 25-foot rule that Ron DeSantis signed in 2024, which went into effect January 1st, 2025, just a few short days ago, and it's called the HALO law, or the HALO bubble, for law enforcement or first responders. So basically what that means is if you as a law-abiding citizen want to exercise your First Amendment right to record the police for, transparency and accountability purposes, you're not going to be able to do that if the officer is having a bad day. Say he doesn't want you to look at him because, he doesn't support the First Amendment. And by the way, not just the First Amendment, but you have Smith v. Cumming, which is case law out of the 11th Circuit, which basically says, almost exactly verbatim, you have a right to observe your government in the course of their official duties, period. And anyone who wants to rail against it should be considered an enemy of the state, of the United States. Ron DeSantis, we already know he's a big fat sellout. He's not a conservative. In my opinion, he's controlled opposition. I think that's been known by a lot of conservatives for a while now. Think of this as sort of like an open letter to Ron DeSantis. He needs to come out and address this. This is all being done in the name of safety and security, of course. Communism and fascism, all this kind of stuff that's been going on all throughout history is always done in the name of safety and security. We're doing what's in your best self-interest, and don't you dare question us, because questioning the government is so un-American, right? That's sarcasm, by the way. So Ron DeSantis, somebody I used to support. I voted for him in the past. I'll never vote for this guy again. He has signed into effect this communist rule that basically says you cannot observe your government in the course of their official duties, and if you're within 25 feet of a first responder or, like, say, police officer, and they say, hey, stand back, if you don't get back 25 feet, I can arrest you, and that's punishable up to 60 days in jail or a $500 fine. It's going to be abused by law enforcement. They're already abusing their qualified immunity. Now, this extra HALO bubble that they're going to have, they're going to now tack on what we call another catch-all charge, like resisting arrest without violence. That's a typical catch-all charge. So is disorderly conduct. Those usually go hand in hand, like if you're being trespassed from a public building as an auditor. So I'm a First Amendment auditor, or a First Amendment activist, you could say. And so what I do is I exercise my First Amendment rights in public. And if you can believe it, I've actually been arrested like so many other First Amendment activists and patriots in this country. They get arrested every day for exercising their rights, going into publicly accessible areas and public buildings such as, DMVs, city halls, jails, and so on, like the public lobbies, areas that are open to the general public that we pay for with our tax dollars. And we're getting arrested and convicted all throughout the United States, but Florida has really been cracking down on this, and they're trying to double down on making an example out of people like you and me who actually care about our rights enough to exercise them, to keep them active in this country, because we're losing our rights, seems like, more and more every day. And people like Ron DeSantis, enemies of the United States, want to punish you for exercising your rights because they simply don't like what you're doing, because you're promoting too much transparency. Of course, they're not going to say that. They'll never come out and say that, at least publicly. But what they're going to say is, oh, officer safety. Cute. Do we really want a bunch of, I don't know how else to say it, a bunch of pussies on the task force? Is that what we want, Ron DeSantis? We want a bunch of pussies out there that are too scared to do what they made a conscious decision to do? I mean, aren't they heroes, after all? Which one's more important, officer safety or citizen safety? I really want to know. I want you to give us that answer on national TV or on live television. Just tell us, hey, the answer to the question, which one's more important, officer safety or citizen safety? I hope your answer is citizen safety, because officer safety, if they're more concerned about their safety than our safety, then they took the wrong job. No one forced them to take that job. So why did they take the job? It's all about their safety, not ours, right? HALO law, honoring and listening to our officers. That's cute. I don't know about you, but I don't want law enforcement that's too scared of their own shadow present when my life's in danger and I need someone else to come to my rescue for whatever reason or scenario that might be. I do not want somebody who can't grow a pair to show up and be responsible for keeping me safe. But it's not even about that. You know, police officers are under no obligation to keep you physically safe. What they're supposed to protect, first and foremost, is our constitutional rights. And the fact that we're creating laws now every year that seem to be an affront and a contradiction to our United States Constitution really is sickening. It's absolutely pathetic. It's disgusting. I think that this does the exact opposite of making our task force look like heroes. I think it makes them look like the opposite of a badass. And I really just, I would not want to be a law enforcement officer with this out there. I would not be, if I were in support of this as a law enforcement officer, I would feel like a big fat pussy. I seriously hope that Ron DeSantis watches this video, and I hope he can address this and really explain how in the world officer safety comes before citizen safety. Which one's more important? And, you know, I want to know if he's going to drop this before it really gets starts getting abused, because it doesn't explain anywhere in there like who has to approach who, talking about law enforcement or United States citizen. Like, what if the officer decides to approach the citizen and the citizen didn't move, and now the officer's, oh, you're within 25 feet. I'm going to arrest you because I told you to move back and you didn't. Like, come on, man. That's going to be abused. It doesn't even seem like our government's even hiding anymore. They're not even hiding the fact that they're trying to take away transparency from we the people. I mean, just look at what's happening as of recently. New Jersey and all across the United States with these drones, all this drone activity, and orbs, which the government hasn't even acknowledged at this point. They've only acknowledged the whole drone activity, which is separate from the orbs, seemingly. You know, you have these orbs that people are calling UFOs or plasmoids, and then you have like the drones that they look like commercial car size, truck size drones, and the government saying, oh, those are, don't worry about that. We don't know what they are exactly. We have no idea what they are, but hey, it's not a threat though. How do you know that something's not a threat if you don't even know what it is? So our government seems to be becoming less and less transparent. And, you know, you got all the bootlickers that are just like, oh, the government said it, you know, so it has to be this. It can't be that. Or, you know, it seems like Americans need to really go back to its roots and understanding what it means to be an American. Questioning your government and holding them accountable. There's nothing more American than that. We should be promoting more transparency because obviously we're not getting enough of it. And now we're getting these laws that are just, you know, absolutely ridiculous, and they're not even hiding the fact anymore that they're trying to erode our rights. So let's stand up to Ron DeSantis. Let's stand up to these bureaucrats in the state of Florida, this police state that I unfortunately live in, and let's hold them accountable. Let's make them answer to we the people, because we are the ones in charge, and they are supposed to be representing us in the American way. They have to be representing us in ways that do not contradict or rail against the United States Constitution. So let's do that, shall we? Let's hold them accountable. Thank you, as usual, for watching. I look forward to seeing you guys in the next video. Until then, truth, trigger, troll.